Welcome back to episode 122 of the ATD Baseball Podcast. We are 2 weeks into the regular season, and we have fan bases that are ready to give up on their team, and we have fan bases that think their team is going to the World Series already. But um, I think today it's just going to be all extension talk. And this usually happens before opening day, and there was a couple of those, but usually, um, as Dustin May gives up another run, usually there's a bunch of extensions that happen the week of opening day. But
Mhm.
this year, it seems like there was a lot of extensions that were happening the week after opening day. Uh, we'll touch on it. Jackson Merrill, Kyle Raleigh, which we still hadn't even touched on. That's crazy. Um, what else am I forgetting? Vladdy Jr. just got the big one last night. We'll touch on all that. But before we get into all that, myself and Kyle as always. And Kyle, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, man. Baseball's back, full swing of things. We're finally, seeing what clubs like with our division previews and stuff like that. We're seeing which clubs are kind of up to par, which ones are slowing down a little bit. But it's still anybody's game. Still way too early in the season to be thinking about stuff like that. But I'm just glad baseball's back, man. Every single day you get to turn on some sort of game, so that's always a plus in everybody's book. But I'm doing great, man. How are you?
I am doing fantastic. Listen, I'm sure as all you guys know, I'm, obviously a huge baseball fan, huge Dodgers fan, but I'm also a big sports fan. And right now, we're in this area where this is what I live for right now. Like, you got baseball that just came back 2 weeks ago. I've been big into the March Madness the last couple of weeks and the championship games tonight. Saturday, I was at the Kings game and I made it home in time to watch Duke completely vomit all over themselves in the last minute 30 of the basketball game. So I was like, damn, that was crazy. And then you got the NBA and the NHL starting their playoffs in a couple weeks here. So this is prime sports for me. The springtime, this like beginning of end of March, beginning of April. This is where I'm at right now. This is I live for this, but uh, doing well. Finished the first homestand at Dodger Stadium. Was definitely very tired after working 6 nights in a row. I haven't done that in like 5 months, but it was nice to be back, and hopefully the Dodgers can continue this. Um, their winning ways. They lost 2 out of 3 in Philly, which I'll touch on that at the end. I wasn't really. I didn't like some of the things I saw. Andy Pye isn't looking directly at you, um, but we'll get into that later. But to answer your question, I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I'm in a good spot right now. So until
Absolutely.
my Lakers and Kings start pissing me off in a couple of weeks here, but we'll see. Hopefully not this year. But um, we are going to touch on a bunch of extensions today. This is extension talk. So if you love numbers and all that stuff, this is the place to be right now. Um,
Absolutely.
we got Jackson Merrill, 9 years, 135. Vladdy Jr., the big one last night, 14 years, 500 million. Christian Campbell of the Boston Red Sox, who's only played a handful of games in his major league career, he got locked down for 8 years, 60. And Cal Rowling, 6 years, 105. I think we have to touch on Vladdy first, just
Yeah.
because he is the big name out of all these guys. No disrespect to the other players, but Vladdy's been in the league for a little bit a year. Um, it didn't sound like after it sounded like. And listen, I completely understand. Like once you get to opening day, I'm sure you just want to focus on baseball. You don't want to focus on numbers and contracts and stuff like that. But I did not think we were going to get any kind of contract extension with Vladdy. I thought he was going to be very firm on the opening day curfew. Like, hey, if we can't get anything done by opening day, I don't want to talk about it the rest of the year. Didn't happen. He got a 14-year, $500 million extension with the Toronto Blue Jays, which there goes one of my predictions because I said, now I could be right with Bichette, and who knows, maybe, you know, now with the money that they just gave to Vlad, the contract they gave out to Santander the other day, the money that they're still paying George Springer, which I think a lot of people have forgotten about. Where does this leave Bo Bichette? And I did say that I thought this would be the year where Vladdy and Bo, or one of them, would get traded at the deadline. Well, can't happen with Vladdy. He's out. So maybe this happens with Bo, but I don't know. Um, of course, it has to also do with how the team's performing and stuff. But um, right off the bat, I mean, when he first came into the league in 2019, and I watched that game, I was actually very much looking forward to that. This was the type of number I think a lot of people were projecting. Hey, he's
Yeah,
going to get a monster extension like this. He had that big year in 2021, which if it wasn't for Shohei Ohtani's historic year, Vladdy would have been your MVP in the American League that season. And since then, it's kind of been, it's been okay. Hasn't been, the movie like he said he wanted to, show a couple years ago. Um, he's been okay. He's been okay, but um, 14 years, 500 million. He right now is currently 26 years old. He will be 40 when the Toronto Blue Jays are still going to be paying this guy. Listen, I understand why Toronto had to do this. Listen, you're having trouble bringing in free agents from outside of Toronto. So why not keep one of your homegrown guys here? Which I completely get that, and we were mentioning this right before we press recorded here. Like I believe that if he was going to get to free agency, he was not going to be back in Toronto. We heard a lot of stuff about the Mets, and to me, it made sense up until 9 o'clock Pacific time last night. Um, I thought he was going to test free agency, and I really thought that he was not going to be back in Toronto if he tested it. So good for the Blue Jays. You have a player for life because it was in limbo a little bit there. You didn't know whether Vladdy was going to be here long term, whether he was going to get traded. Like there was some people in the Canadian Toronto area that were asking themselves, like, "Hey, should it be time to maybe consider trading this kid?" Or one of them. But and we had this conversation too. Which one would you rather have, Bo or Vladdy? A lot of people were leaning towards Bo Bichette. Well, we know exactly now how the front office feels. But again, we'll see what happens with Bo Bichette. But just my overall take on it. Good for Toronto. I mean, that's a big number, 500 million for 14 years. But again, these contracts are getting more and more outrageous by the year. So 500 million in 5 years, or even 3 years, that might be looked as nothing. I keep going back to the Bryce Harper contract, what he signed for the Phillies in the spring of 2019. Now that looks like chump change.
yeah,
Now that looks like a steal. So um, crazy, but uh, good for Toronto fans. I'm very happy for the Blue Jays fans. Now they have somebody that at least they know they're going to be here for the foreseeable future, and it looks like Vladdy will be a Blue Jay for life. So we'll see where he ranks. I'm very interested to see where he'll rank when this contract is all said and done in terms of because he's going to have a lot of these records. I think most home
yeah,
runs all time by a Blue Jay, and hopefully maybe there's winning in there too, a championship. I think that's what all Blue Jays fans wants, but we'll see. I know Kyle doesn't want that to happen, but uh, that's my overall take. Good for Blue Jays fans. Uh, Listen, I just hope Vladdy can live up to it because man, now these people are gonna be on him every night. Now, if it's like, you know, it's the same thing that I've heard from Soto, and he's only been a Met for 2 weeks. Oh, you're giving him 700 million to look at a strike down the middle. What the hell is this? So we'll see, but good for
yeah,
good for Blue Jays fans.
yeah. No, I mean, absolutely. I'm happy for Vladdy. I am. As
Right.
much as Vladdy's been a pain in my ass the last few years, I like him as a player. I think he plays the game with a lot of heart and he plays with a lot of soul. It's good for him. It is. And I'm glad you touched on the whole Bryce Harper thing because I was going to say, you know, my Yankees giving out that contract to Judge, it had to happen. But at the moment, I was like, damn, that's a lot of money. Now it's looking pretty damn good, because I would want to know what that market would look like if Judge was hitting free agency next year instead of just a few years ago. But nevertheless, good for Toronto. I mean, it really does give one of their. It speaks volume to free agents when you can keep your homegrown guys. It does. Um, they now have that big name player that they can continue to build around for years and years. However, I'm going to say something. It's going to be a little bit of a hot take to some people, I think. But this is going to be a contract that we're going to see on one of those videos in a few years, however many years, 5 to 10 years down the road, where it's one of the worst contracts in baseball. And the Blue Jays are not going to be able to get rid of it, in my opinion. Like I said, Vladdy's been on this downhill slope since his monster 2021 season. There's no doubt in my mind that he can get back, but I haven't seen enough to believe that. He hits for a high average every year. The kid's a damn good hitter. He has good bat to ball contact skills. He's got the shit ton of power that we know he can add, that he can utilize. But overall, I don't see him living up to this contract. However, I feel like Toronto's had their back against the wall and things like that, because I don't think that Vladdy was budging. If he wasn't going to get the 500 from Toronto, he was going to get it from somewhere else. But
Mets.
no, yeah, a Mets team could have very well been in play, and overall though, it's good for both sides. It is. I feel like when you start to picture Vladdy in other uniforms, like you can picture it, but it's like, he started his career in Toronto, and those are the type of things that I like to see. I like to see the homegrown guys stay with the club for long term. I am definitely a guy who likes the loyalty in baseball over anything else. I'm looking at you, Juan Soto.
Oh,
But anyway, no, good for both sides. I'm glad they got a deal done, and let's hope and pray that Vladdy's not a thorn in my side for the next 14 fucking years, because I'm going to be 40 years old when this contract is over. And I don't want to see him still killing the Yankees when I'm 40. So,
right. Here's the thing that if you're a Toronto fan that you got to feel good about. Number one, he plays every day. I'm
mm-hmm.
looking at his baseball reference page right now. Since he entered the league in 2019, he's played at least, except his rookie year, he's played over 150 games every year. He
That's
played
huge.
he played all 60 COVID games in 2020. Um, like I said, the lowest amount of games he's played was his rookie year in 2019, and that was 123. And that was, I think, because he just didn't get called up right away. I
Yeah.
think he made his debut like in the middle to end of April. Other than that, 2021, 161 games. 2022, 160. 2023, 156. And last season, 159. And this year, he's already played 10. So the durability is there for Vlad. Now, he's 26. Let's see in 5 years when he's 29, 30, if he's still playing 150 games every year. And the home runs every year except, well, his rookie year in 2020, but throw away those years. But um, he's had 30 or more home runs every year except once, and that was in 2023. So this guy, can mash, obviously. Um, so there's some positives there. If you're a Toronto Blue Jays fan, it's just that I'm very interested because obviously he's a first baseman right now, so I do think he will age a little bit better, but we'll see. We'll see. Clearly he cares. I remember, I think it was 2 off seasons ago that Vladdy put down a bunch of weight. I think he lost
Mm-hmm.
like 20, 25 pounds, something like that. So he clearly cares, and he clearly wants to be in the best shape for the Toronto Blue Jays. But I understand your concerns, and I can definitely see that in a couple of years if the video's playing and Vladdy's one of the worst contracts in the history of baseball. But
And, and like, listen, I don't want that to happen.
right, I
Like,
don't either.
I'm a Yankees fan, but I'm also a baseball fan, and when these big name players are playing every day and playing to that high level, you're going to get viewership, and you know that it's going to be entertaining, exciting baseball. And Vladdy's, unfortunately for me, one of those guys. I love watching Vladdy play. Not against the Yankees, but you get my you get my gist. You know, I think he's a great ball player, and I think he plays the game with a lot of heart, and that's what I love. So I hope that I'm wrong, but if I'm using my baseball cap here, and the way he's been, like, I was one of those guys that I said I would take Bo over Vladdy. So for the Blue Jays' sake as well, I hope they made the right choice, because Bo is one of those guys that I could see longevity wise in a career. Let's say they both play 15 years in the game of baseball, whatever it is. I think when it's all said and done, Bo might have better numbers.
I agree. I agree, and that's not far off. And like I said, we're gonna find out soon about the future of Bo Bichette because
Absolutely.
now he's probably the next guy in line to get paid. If not, he's gonna get traded or he'll just leave in free agency. So
Yeah.
we're
I
gonna find out.
because now I mean, like you just said, I truly do think when you think of the Toronto Blue Jays, the number one storyline is going to be Bo Bichette up until he hits free agency. That is exactly how this is going to be. Because do they trade him? Do they lock him up, or do they let him walk? You know, we're definitely going to see the way this plays out. But it's going to be interesting with Bo Bichette because I don't know if he's that 500 million type of player, but I definitely see him getting a damn good payday. I do. He's that type of player. I view him and Vlad kind of at 1A, 1B. So I'm very interested to see what the market looks like for Bo Bichette.
Continuing on to these other extensions, let's do Jackson Merrill next. Um, Jackson Merrill, 9 years, $135 million. And according to reports that he and statements that he made last week, he took up less to stay with the San Diego Padres. Which if you're a Padres fan, that's great. But reality is like, okay, well, I mean, San Diego Padres are kind of handcuffed right now. Like, you know,
Yeah,
all you got to do is look at shortstop. How much they're paying Xander Bogaerts this year. You know, Eric Hosmer, he's turned into a Twitter troll now. He's 13 million this year to do nothing and sit on his ass at home. Like they have other financial restraints right now. But again, I like it. Jackson Merrill, he's a great player. This is another one that he's gonna annoy the shit out of me for these next 9 years. You wanna know why? Because he did that last year. Did that last year for this kid who had never played um, center field before to just go out there, perform at a very high level, and also have a great rookie year at the plate, and to finish second at Cy Young Award. And there's many people all people in San Diego think he should have won Rookie of the Year last year. Incredible, and for him to get this payday, congratulations. Um, Again, I mentioned it to you. I would have liked to see maybe one more year of this before I gave Jackson Merrill a big contract like a extension like this, but I guess the Padres feel pretty confident, and as you should, that he's going to be able to live up to it and continue to produce. And he's already off to a good start. He's hitting 387. He's got 3 home runs, 10 RBIs. Like he's off to a pretty good start, and I can see why the Padres gave him that contract. And finally, you have kind of your face of the franchise here a little bit. It's kind of crazy to think, but Machado's not getting any younger. I know Tatis is still relatively young, but you've got a piece now that you can build around for the foreseeable future in Jackson Merrill, which is crazy because a year ago they didn't think we didn't know about this kid. We didn't know what kind of player he was going to be. Then they put him in center field, and he's performed ever since, and that's great. Completely well deserved. I understand why San Diego did not want to screw around. And you mentioned it, and I kind of agree with you. Like this, out of all these other contracts that have been given out here recently, like the Jackson Merrill one could age very nicely. And like I said, you look at the other contracts that are around in the league, like 9 years for 135. That's a team friendly deal, man. That is a team friendly deal. I don't know, had he continued to play well, what he could have gotten free agency in, 4 to 5 years from now. But again, good for everybody. Good for Jackson Merrill to have that stability. He has a home now in San Diego for the foreseeable future, and the Padres have their next superstar. Really, and that's crazy because you're saying this with a team that has Machado and Fernando Tatis Jr. But Jackson Merrill is kind of like this piece you're gonna build around now for the foreseeable future, and good for them. Good for them.
Absolutely. And you kind of touched on it. This is my favorite extension out of all four of these. I think there's one party in this entire saga that kind of sold themselves short, and that's Jackson Merrill.
Yeah,
Because the San Diego Padres, who are already tight with money, this is huge for them. You mean to tell me you get to lock down Jackson Merrill for 9 years and you only pay 135 million? That's unheard of. That's I don't know how the hell the
at
Padres.
age 21, by the way.
Yes, I don't know how in the hell the Padres got away with this, but they did, and damn good for them. I'll tell you that because this is a beautiful contract. I love this. I love this so much for the Padres. I'm looking at this as a complete Padres win. Yeah, Jackson Merrill. I'm huge on the kid. I think he's going to continue to turn into that superstar that we know he can. And this contract is going to age extremely well for the Padres. Now, Merrill, I don't know what the hell he was thinking, to be quite honest with you. Play out your rookie deal, right? Play the rookie deal out and see what you can hit in free agency. You see what's going on in this league, and you see what these players are getting. I'm not saying Jackson Merrill's ever going to be like a Juan Soto type outfielder or, you know, a guy like that kind of superstar, the Aaron Judges, the Shohei Otanis, the Bryce Harpers. But I can definitely see him getting into the 300 to 400 million range if he continues to age the way he is and play the way we know he can. There's no doubt in my mind that he could have got a contract like that. So if there's anybody selling themselves short in this deal, it's Jackson Merrill.
And he still can. Because when this
Yeah,
deal's up, he'll be 29,
he
which
will.
is crazy. He'll be
Yeah,
29 or 30, one of the 2 years. So he can still get a big contract. But and also too,
absolutely.
135 divided in 9 years. That's somewhere around $15 million. I did that in my head. I totally didn't just put that on the calculator. Um, I did that in my head. There's a chance that he could have been making more in arbitration.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
again, yeah, you're 100% right. Selling yourself short. But again, maybe financially, some people are just in different situations. And hey, let me strike while the stove is hot, I guess. So
Yeah. No, I mean, and absolutely. And I'm not trying to like downplay
no,
$135 million here. You know,
I'll
that's
take
a
it
lot.
if they don't want to.
No, absolutely. That's a shit ton of money, and it's generational wealth type money. But when you're looking at the game itself and you're taking the price of everything else and you're only looking at the game of baseball, this is chump change compared to everything else. And I totally forgot about that. Arbitration numbers are insane sometimes. I know Judge was making damn near 25 to 30 mil on arbitration.
Vladdy too was making over 20, I think.
Yeah, Soto every year it seemed like he was signing these arbitration deals that were worth 28 million. I actually think he set the record for that. I think it was 28 million. Um, but no, like that's and who knows? Maybe Jackson Merrill absolutely loves the Padres and he absolutely loves being in San Diego. And the Padres went to him and said, "Hey, here's what we can give you." And he's like, "Damn, hell yeah, I want to be a Padre." And that's what matters to him. So good for both sides, but in my mind, better for the Padres here.
Absolutely. Uh Christian Campbell. Congratulations, my friend. He got, let me pull this back up again. 8 years, 60 million. And he's only played a handful of games in his professional life. Uh, I see this as completely the Red Sox are not screwing around this time.
Yeah.
Um, I've heard comps of Mookie Betts with this kid, which if they're right, holy shit, you know, we'll see you in the Dodgers in 8 years. So, no, I'm just kidding. Um, but listen, I like the Red Sox being aggressive here. I don't know where the hell this came from.
Yeah.
Giving an extension to Garrett Crochet, going out and getting Alex Bregman in free agency, giving Christian Campbell 8 years, 60 million. Are the Red Sox back? in terms of flexing their muscles with their money.
They
Because
might
we've
be.
seen for the last couple years they've been extremely cheap.
Mhm.
You know, so maybe the Red Sox are back here, and I know they're off to a decent start here too in the AL East, but good for the Red Sox and good for Christian Campbell. You know, again another team friendly deal, but again, this kid's only a rookie. He's only
Yeah,
played a handful of games, and again, I completely understand why he took it as he should. You know, but again, this is if this kid performs like I think he will, this is a steal for the Red Sox. Absolute steal for the Red Sox. And again, good for him. I didn't. I heard rumors that they wanted to lock this kid down before opening day, but
hmm
um, obviously didn't happen, and they got it done a week later. So good for them. Good for them. Kyle, have fun watching him for 8 years for the foreseeable future in a Red Sox uniform.
yeah, and I mean that could be a good thing or it could be a bad thing.
Right.
That's the way that I look at this. I'm not. This kid's a rookie. I don't know anything about him much. I mean, yeah, we know the comps. We know what this kid could be, but we also knew the comps with Jason Dominguez, right? And he hasn't completely tore up the league like we thought he would. It's these prospects. They're called prospects for a reason. There's no guarantee that they're going to work out. The most hyped up prospects could be the most biggest failures in the game of baseball, but then guys you never heard of, coming down from the not even ranked in the farm system, come up and make a huge name for themselves. But I mean, yeah, good for the Red Sox. They're being aggressive, and maybe they needed a few years to reset. Maybe they needed to get some money off of the books and kind of like bring in some more and really stockpile, so then that way they can go out and spend. They locked down Devers after they lost Bogarts. Then they brought in, yeah, Bregman, and like you said, now they're being aggressive with their prospects too. And I know their farm system is pretty damn good, unfortunately. Um, but I mean, overall, if it works out, great. If not, you get to eat 60 million, and to these major franchises, that's nothing. And I mean, good for this kid, man. He's barely played a game and he's making 60 million. Good for him. Cool. That's pretty much the only thoughts that I have on it. He's a prospect, and there's not much I can say. I need to see more out of him, obviously, but
Right.
clearly the stock's tall enough.
Yeah. Big bad Red Sox are back. I'm calling it now. What is it? It is currently April 7th, 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock Pacific time, the year of our Lord 2025. I think the big bad Red Sox are back here. They're playing well. I don't know about you. I know Kyle's not watching Red Sox games, but I was watching the Red Sox over the weekend. Fenway's buzzing again.
They're on a
Fenway
five.
Park is buzzing again. Beat the shit out of the Cardinals over the weekend, including a couple walk-offs. But you can see it in the fans. You can hear it in the broadcasters. They believe, as do I, that this Red Sox team is going to be pretty damn good this year.
Yeah, it's understandably so. I mean, good for them, I guess.
Oh yeah, and Rafael Devers has figured it out too.
He
Remember when
has.
that was a story for a week? 0 for 16 with like 16 strikeouts. I think he's gonna be all right.
I think so.
Okay, we'll get a Cal Raleigh here because Kyle clearly doesn't want to talk about the Red Sox, which I don't blame him.
It's all good.
Why do you think we got off of Jackson Merrill so quickly? No, I'm just kidding. Um, Cal Raleigh, 6 years, 105. Again, kind of one of their staples here with Seattle Mariners behind Julio Rodriguez. He is a very much a fan favorite in Seattle. Big dumper, as I like to call him. Yeah, and understandable. Switch hitting catcher. He's 28 years old. So, I mean, I don't. I
It's
guess
probably why the years was there.
right, which I completely understand. But every year except in 2021, he's hit over 25 home runs. He's Pretty much, he plays all the time, 150 games, 145. Like, I can see why the Mariners gave out this contract. And again, this is probably all the Mariners could have given out.
Yeah.
But if you're Kyle Rowling, you don't know what you're going to get in free agency.
Hmm.
Take what you can. Again, this is probably a team friendly deal. But again, this is what probably all the Mariners can offer. But
Yeah.
again, another staple, staying put, which is what you like. You like to see that. You like to see guys stay there long term, and now they're clearly building around, you know, this great pitching rotation that they have. Julio Rodriguez, who they locked up a couple years ago, and now Kyle Raleigh. So we'll see. I like it. I like it. I mean, you know, could he have gotten more in free agency? I think so. But
Hmm.
again, maybe these guys just want to stay in their cities, and I don't blame him if he wants to stay in Seattle.
Yeah, no, I mean, absolutely. And I was kind of going back and forth on this to see which one of these contracts were my favorite. And Cal Raleigh was close to number one to Jackson Merrill. But I think for me, Cal Raleigh being 28 right now, he's a catcher. That's catchers don't hold up as much as you'd like them to. But you kind of touched on it. He's played a significant amount of games every year, and I think the biggest piece to this, the biggest takeaway, is that you're not getting rid of any more bats in that already terrible offense, right? So you're locking down the ones that you do have, and then you can continue to build around them. I love this extension. 6 years, 105 million. It takes him to age that would be 34 at that point. And I think that's right around the age where he's probably, if he
Put him at
hasn't
first
already.
base.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you shove him out at first base, or you have him at DH. Whatever it looks like. Um, but no, I love this move. Kyle Raleigh, he's definitely one of the best catchers in baseball, in my opinion. I love him a lot. I love the way he plays the game, and yeah, good for both sides. Seriously, I think this is a fair deal for a guy like Kyle Raleigh, and it's also team friendly, in my opinion.
Who says the Mariners don't spend money? I'm doing it right now. I wish it would translate to wins
Yeah,
because they're off to an abysmal start again.
uh, shocker, right?
3-7 after I think I had them third in the division. I think.
I think I had him fourth.
Yeah.
I think I had him.
Um. All right. We've done the extension talk. Now we'll get to our teams, Yankees and Dodgers. You can go first with the Yankees. It seems
Okay.
Aaron Judge is gonna flirt with 60 home runs again, which now I feel
Well,
like an idiot taking Bobby Wood Jr. as my MVP.
I told you, man, don't bet against them. But yet again, it is also only. I'm not getting ahead of ourselves here. It is only 10 games into the season.
You
So
should have
as of
told
right
that to MLB.com. He hit his third home run and they were like, he's flirting with 60. I'm like, hey, hang on a second.
I mean, it took him, I believe, so he had four homers in 5 games, and it took him up until game 26, I believe, of last year to reach four homers. Um, Now, of course, there's going to be some cold streaks in there, as there is with every player. So it's good that he's building them up now if that's what he's going for, if he's going for the most home runs he possibly can. But no, this Aaron Judge is just it's ridiculous, man. Every single year you go into the season and you're saying to yourself, what is this Yankees team going to look like? It was much different than it was last year. Not entirely sure where they're going and everything, but this Yankees offense continues to amaze me, man. Just the other day, take today's game out of consideration because of the stat, but they were averaging 9 runs a game, man. That's ridiculous. That's insane. But yet again, that is what they're going to have to do, in my opinion, because
Yep.
this pitching staff does not look great. That is my one biggest takeaway. I don't like the way this pitching staff looks. And you're probably going to hear this a lot throughout the season and as these podcasts go on, is I want Brian Cashman to go out and get another pitcher. Because with Gary Cole out all year, Max Fried, he's looked okay. He hasn't looked great. Carlos Rodon, he seems to cruise through four innings and then shit the bed when he's about to be taken out, and then that's a whole fucking thing. And then you have Will Warren in there, who's not at all. He's a rookie, man. You can't expect much out of him. Hopefully, Luis Hill comes back soon. Um, but yeah, that's my biggest takeaway is this pitching staff. I don't like it. I need more out of them, and you know this offense needs to continue to score runs, man. Judge is doing his thing. Austin Wells looks amazing. I'll say that. The young guys on this team. That's another takeaway. The young guys and the pitching staff. So Austin Wells, Anthony Volpe, Oswaldo Cabrera. Them three have really taken this on and kind of produced at a high level. And the Yankees wouldn't be, well, they're 6-4 right now after today's loss. They wouldn't be second place in the AL East right now if it wasn't for those three, which does scare me a little bit. Not going to lie, but also too Trent Grisham. Where the hell, where the hell you dig that out from? If he can continue to produce like that, I'd love that. But yeah, I mean, after the first 2 weeks of the season, I'm not feeling totally confident, which is kind of what I expected. It's kind of just middle of the road for me with this team. This team's it has too many question marks for me. Um, Aaron Judge, he's doing his thing. Bellinger looks good, and the young guys look good. But other than that, man, like the rest of that lineup is kind of shaky, and the pitching staff I don't like. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. I'm very middle of the road and kind of more leaning disappointed than I am anything else.
You have Juan Soto at home. Trent Grisham, Cody Bellinger.
Oh yeah, okay, Belly. I like him. He's not no Juan Soto, but I'm okay with Belly on my team.
Yeah, he'll play great defense, and I mean, listen, if he can hit you, I've seen the dark days. If he can stay around 240, 245, 250, that's pretty good right now.
Yeah.
But
Well, also
um,
too, and
yeah,
and that is something else real quick is the Yankees prioritize defense over anything else this offseason. They got so much better defensively, and I think that's what I'm seeing right now. This team is better defensively, but yet again, what good does that do you when your your co-star to Aaron Judge is Cody Bellinger? And listen, I love Bellinger, but that's not going to play in today's league. It's not.
right. Um, Now to the flip side with the Dodgers. Since the last time we spoke, they took they swept the Atlanta Braves. And they should have lost that last game. They were down 5-0 early in the game, and now we know why Snell has kind of gone off to a bad start here. Turns out he had fatigue in his inflammation in his left shoulder, so now he's shut down for 2 weeks. And here we go again. Here we go again with the damn injuries to these starting pitchers. But I guess if there were injuries, you don't root obviously or cheer for injuries, but I guess I'd much rather have him at the beginning of the season than at the end. There's still plenty of time for Blake Snell to come back and perform and pitch again. And he's not even a first half pitcher, anyways.
Yeah.
He's always sucked in the first half of the season.
Yep.
But and luckily the Dodgers have so many starters that are literally waiting in line. Like Justin Robleski's supposed to pitch tomorrow. Landon Knack got called up. He's supposed to pitch on Wednesday. So it's like, you know, we have other pitchers that are ready to, pick up the slack a little bit. But
We got
uh,
four aces in that staff, man. I
yes,
think you'll be
yes.
okay.
Yamamoto, Glasnow, even though he completely forgot what the hell he was doing in the third inning yesterday, there was no rain, and then all of a sudden a single drop of rain hit his cap and the ball, and then he just completely forgot how to pitch. But um, again, they're 9-2. They're fine. Like they're currently losing right now to Washington 3-2, but. Um, Again, it's like I'm not gonna get too high. I'm not gonna get too low with this team. Like I listen. I know what the goal is, and you know that's what would get me in trouble when I was a young kid.
Oh
By
yeah.
young, I mean like 2017, 2016 when I was in high school. Like, they go on a tear, they'd win 12 out of 15 in the middle of the summer. I'm like, holy shit, this team's going to win a World Series this year. And then they completely fall flat on their face when it counts. I'm not doing that anymore. I'm more
You-
mature. I'm a little older. I've been burned too many times also. So I've learned to just go with the flow of the season. And was I happy with the Dodgers losing 2 out of 3 to Philly in Philly? No. But um,
it's April, man.
it's April, exactly. You're 100% correct. It is April. I don't expect the Dodgers to play clean every single night, which they didn't. They beat themselves up. They beat themselves on Friday. Yoshinobu Yamamoto got no run support whatsoever, and they made some horrible decisions on the base pads. Roki Sasaki looked pretty good Saturday, but again, nobody in the media wants to give him any credit because he only won 4 innings. So, but little by
But
little,
also,
he's getting better.
and, and and also too, like with the whole media thing and the way the game of baseball is going, these guys aren't going 7 innings anymore.
No, this is why Hosmer right here, right here. Lucre, you too, right here,
that,
buddy.
that's also something that we need to take in consideration. Like if you guys know us very well, we do player of the game every night.
Yes,
Hasn't been many pitchers, and there's a reason for that. These guys don't go the distance much anymore.
at
You know,
least not
you're
this early either.
exactly you're getting the 4 and 5 inning pitchers with the bullpen getting taxed a lot. That's just how it is nowadays.
Right. Um. Yeah. Listen, I have nothing to complain about. They're 9-2. They kept the Braves team winless, which again, I don't think they're gonna. I was like, what the hell is this Braves team?
Yeah.
This was Kyle's pick to win the World Series this year, and they
Yep.
started off 0-7.
Yeah.
Um, and they had no business winning that last game. And for Shohei Ohtani to hit a walk-off home run on his bobblehead night, you couldn't ask for a better ending to the season. You couldn't ask for a better ending to the first homestand in 2025. But to kind of put a bow on this, like they're 9-2. It's April. Like, you know, I wish we had that series in Philly. I really
Yeah.
do because again yesterday they were down 6-2 after Castellanos hit the grand slam. Which check on your loved ones, by the way. After that happened, um, I hope everybody's okay. But there's a stock market. But um, um, the Dodgers came back. They tied the game and they took the lead again.
Yeah.
But then their bullpen kind of couldn't hold it. You know, so. But again, that's gonna happen. I don't expect the bullpen to be lights out every day.
Every day.
Um,
Um,
I don't
I
expect
don't know.
these other guys to be locked in at the plate all the time. It's a long season.
Absolutely.
Shohei hasn't even gotten off to a great start. But again, he hit a home run today, and he's actually a double away from the cycle. And it's only the sixth inning,
I saw that. Yeah.
and he's gonna get at least one, if not two more at bats.
Yep.
So we'll see. But Mookie Betts is I don't want to say he's a problem at shortstop, but he's not helping himself. He's not helping himself. Also, too, Andy Pajes, get the hell out of my baseball team. What the hell was that route yesterday? I don't know if you saw that. Took a shitty ass route yesterday that led to the 8-7 comeback win for the Phillies.
Yeah.
Can't do that. You
Nope.
can't do that. And they put Tommy Edman back in center field, which I don't know why they haven't done that. I don't know why. I mean, I know why, but
But also too, let's always remember it's April. You'd
it's
rather it happen
April.
now than Game 5 of the World Series.
Yeah,
Aaron.
right. Which,
But
by the way, on that, uh, I did get to see the ring in person for
mm,
myself for the phone
okay,
stand. I didn't mention that.
okay.
Gorgeous. I wish I
Oh,
could take it home. I wish I could take it home with me, but uh, I was able to from some people in the building. They're like, "Hey, you want to check it out?" I'm like, "Hell yeah, I do."
that's
So
cool,
they
man.
they took me to
Great.
a room and I got to see it. I didn't get to hold it, but
Yeah.
I got to see the box and I got to I got to see it spin. I wanted to take it home, but I couldn't. But
I
Um,
don't blame you, man.
I am in the process of getting that ring for myself.
Okay,
I'm in the process. It's not gonna be, the shiny thing. It's not gonna be that, but I am in the process right now of getting that ring for myself.
love to
Not that
hear it.
exact one. Not that exact one, obviously, because I'd be poor and I'd not eat anything for like 5 years. So, but um, I'm in the process of getting that ring, and I did get to see it. Pretty damn cool. That was pretty damn cool. The guy got to open it too and everything. I'm like, oh shit! I'm like,
That's
this is
cool.
cool.
Very cool.
So, but we're not talking about that. This is 2025 now. So, um, to put a bow on it, Dodgers off to a good start. They're 9-2. I'm not feeling the rest of the division. I don't like that the Giants are 8-1. I don't like that the Padres are 8-2. Um, again, it's a long season. I think the division will play itself out. I don't expect the Giants to be there in the end. Can they be good? Absolutely. Like they can be a wild card team, but I
Oh
don't
yeah,
expect them to be neck and neck again like it were in 2021. But um, overall, we're 9-2. It's April. What the hell are you gonna complain about? You
yeah,
know, I don't. I you don't want to sound like the spoiled rich kid yet. I will be in a couple months though, if this team is not producing like I know they could. But
yeah.
also, too, Freddie Freeman. Hope he's all right. You know, had that
Mm.
incident in the shower. You know, when he
Wild.
slipped, which is crazy. I know, but again, I didn't want to see him out there because it's April again. I don't need you being a hero in April. I need you in October. I understand you have to get the reps in, you have to get the games in, but Freddie, we don't need it right now.
Yeah,
Now
absolutely.
let's see after this trip against you know, the Nationals, maybe we will have to figure out a way to get him back out there on the field. But like I said, overall, no complaints out of me. Dodgers are 9-2. They're off to a historic start, so nothing for me to complain about. Teoscar Hernandez picking up from last year too, incredible.
Absolutely.
All right, well, unless you got anything else, I think that's it.
No, I think that's
I'm
it, man.
not touching on. I am not mentioning too where the Dodgers were at today. Not doing that. Not doing that because some of these people will absolutely hate it, and the other half will completely love it. So I'm not gonna give either of you the benefit of the doubt.
Mm-mm.
It's all over
Nope.
social media. If you want to know where the Dodgers were today, you can just look it up on your whatever social media platform you like. But I'm not
This is
touching on it.
this is a baseball podcast, and that is
Yes,
where we draw the line. That is it.
that's where we draw the line. Yes. So, um, yeah. Unless you got anything else, I think we're done here.
Not really. I would love for the Yankees to pick it up and take these two games against Detroit, but other than that, that's it.
You gonna present Gleyber Torres with his American League champions ring?
There shouldn't even be rings for that, in my opinion, man.
I agree with you. Which the Dodgers did that in 2018 opening weekend after they lost to the Astros. I'm like, why the
Mhm.
fuck are we doing this?
And I mean, I'll be completely honest with you here. I haven't heard anything
No,
regarding
which
that.
the Yankees shouldn't be doing that.
Which I'll be completely honest with you. I hope and pray that the Yankees don't have anything with the AL champions.
I don't think they would. They would have done it already.
I agree, and I'm really hoping that it continues all throughout the season. And like you just mentioned, they're in Detroit right now. If they want to do it behind closed doors, whatever, I don't care. But do not, I repeat, do not put that into the public eye that you were the American League champions last year. That means shit to me and to the
Okay,
rest
well,
of the
you got to
fans.
talk to Michael Kay because when I turned in the Yankee game over the weekend, he said you are watching the reigning American League champion New York Yankees on the Yes Network. So maybe you got to send him an email or something like, "Hey, stop mentioning that."
I agree, man. Dude, I seriously, I don't want to hear it at all. Like it, the only place I ever want to see it is in the record books when I'm looking up stats to see who was in which champion, like who won the league that year, who was in the World Series. I don't need it to be plastered as a reminder that hey, guess what? We lost the World Series last year, but we won the American League, and that's great, right? No, fuck you. Give me a World Series. That's what matters. So I don't want to see any of this AL champion bullshit again at all. And
Come
I'm
out
glad.
to Yankee Stadium this Friday to see the American League champion New York Yankees receive their AL champion rings before
No,
first pitch.
absolutely not. I would despise the hell out of that. I want no parts of that, man. None at all. If it's not the real thing, I don't want it at all.
I'm sure the team send them rings, but again, I'm sure
Yeah,
players like Judge and they're not going to acknowledge that. They're never going to wear that.
no.
So we'll see. Who knows? Maybe the Yankees don't give him anything.
Let's see. I hope not,
Wouldn't
but
happen under the boss. Wouldn't happen.
no, because if the boss was still in charge, we'd probably be up to 30 at this point. So,
Whoa, yeah.
is it a wild statement?
It's
Come on,
not,
don't
but
shoot me here. Come on,
Juan Soto would still be in pinstripes.
absolutely, he would, without a doubt.
All right. Well, I'm
That's okay.
glad. I'm glad Kyle got that off his
Thanks.
chest. That's why I
Appreciate it.
ask you. I'm sure you don't have anything else you want to mention before we get out
No,
of here.
I think that's it. I feel much better that I got that AL bullshit out of the way. So we're good.
All right then. Well, we'll see you next week. Adios.